Morning, everybody. We're gonna be chopping out this morning, just having some fun, making some variations of grid, or rather, working through some. And in these practice streams, I share how I practice, what I practice, and I sometimes respond to some questions that are in the different chats because we're live on multiple different platforms simultaneously. Now, all of the practice streams are found in this playlist. It has over 300 practice sessions with timestamps in the description so you can see what I was practicing or what kind of question I was answering, etc. And if there is a question, then I'm like, that was a good question. I should turn that into a tip that I share on social media. I put them in this playlist. At the top right now are members first videos. They're just scheduled to release publicly. Every one of the members first videos, there's like 418 of them right now. They're all coming out, scheduled for free. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can find all these videos that have different questions that people have asked on the different streams and whatnot. Now, all of these you can find on my home tab of YouTube. If you just go here and you click on the drumming content header on the home tab, and that'll expand so you see literally thousands of free drumming playlists, play-alongs, content, and whatnot for y'all. Now, if you want to find everything neatly organized, you can actually find it on the very first link at the top of each one of the descriptions, and that takes you to my website. So this allows me to organize it way better than I can on YouTube. You just go to here. It's got all the 55 chop exercises, over 900 grid variations, which we'll be working on some triplet ones today. It's also got 55 drum charts, a bunch of timing exercises. A lot of these are currently scheduled to release, so stay tuned for that. Just under 400 marching bass exercises, just under 300 technique exercises, and then here's the drumming tips and live stream playlists and whatnot if you are interested in finding that. Now, with all these streams, I like to get myself into a stream mindset and just kind of, not take it too seriously, just kind of have some fun. So I get Shia LaBeouf to help me out with that motivation. So Shia, help me out here. Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit. And you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. W Mindset is right. I agree. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Oh, yeah. Shia LaBeouf. Thank you so much. Ooh, look at that flex. All right. Now that the goofs have been initiated, let's play. So I haven't drummed today, so we're going to get the hands going. So we are going to play a bunch of cheese variations. There are 16th note variations as well as triplet variations. We're going to play quite a few different ones today. We're going to warm up with cheese on one, the standard, the stock. And we're going to start off at 100. For every one of these free play-alongs, just go into the timestamp in the description, and then you can jump to whatever BPM you want. So this one goes from 40 beats a minute all the way up to 200, and every click in between. Go. Let me turn up the volume so we can hear it. It'll tap you off, and then you play along. Thank you for all the likes on TikTok. Appreciate it. My left hand was starting to slip like it was when I did the Flam 5 one, except that one ended up with I was holding on with only the front couple of fingers. Holding on for dear life. All right, let's speed this up. Let's get the hands going. Then we'll stretch and massage. And then we're going to play a backwards grid variation, and then cheese on accent, cheese before accent, cheese after an accent. And then we'll end with some floppy flam work. Somebody had a question about that yesterday. So I'll show you how to work on that. 120. Whoop. Click. Let's go. This is such a good way to work on any rudiment. There's a reason why I've got over 900 of these grid variations available on my YouTube and on my website. It's because they're super helpful for working on flam 5 or a flam drag or alternating flams or whatever. One for E. +7 energy. Crush that. Thank you for the follow on TikTok. I appreciate ya. 150. Just getting the blood flowing. Just having fun. And then we'll stretch and massage. And then we'll play more variations. Again. My sticks again are just like flying out of my hands. They're just like wee, slowly falling. All right, fine. We'll stretch and massage. That's my cue to do that. All right, so take your sticks, hold them, palms facing up. Pull in, and you push through. It's a weird stretch. It stretches the side of your forearms. It's great. 10 out of 10 would recommend. You know, that's why I demonstrate it. And to get out of the stretch, you just go back out the way that you came. And if you do traditional grip, like I used to do, rotate and hold here to one end of the extreme. Hold there for like 20 to 30 seconds. And then rotate and hold here to the other end of the extreme. And that helps you out with your heights for your left hand. But I don't do that anymore, so don't worry about that. Now we're going to stretch the underside of the forearms. You could do it one at a time like this. You could do it on your pad like this. You could do it on the wall. The lower you go, the deeper the stretch. Just don't put all your weight into it. I'm going to do it this way. So you do 2 fingers at a time. This gives it a little bit of a deeper stretch along the forearm. So you go back this way. And you just hold it here. Ooh-wee. And then you do the next pair of fingers, so the pinky and the ring. Which my ring is currently on my necklace, so I don't click the sticks. And then we switch the other arm. So doing 2 fingers. Index in the middle. Again, we're stretching the underside, the tendons. Don't pull too hard. Just a gentle little pull back. And then the next 2. While you do it, do a little dance. It's required. If you don't do this, then you just don't get the proper stretch. It's a little hip motion. All right, now we're going to stretch the top side of the forearm. So you could do it like this. You could do this one on the wall. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. You could do this one on your leg, like this. Or you could do this one on your pad. Just don't put all your weight into it. Again, we're stretching the top of the forearm. Getting nice relaxed. And then we're going to stretch the fingers. Top of my forearm feels great. Okay, so to do this twice as fast, you do thumb to thumb. So you're going to just do each finger on the same finger on the opposite hand. Just putting a little bit of opposite direction. Pushing in the opposite direction, so that way it gives it a nice little stretch. Switch to the other fingers. Do this at least once a day, if not twice a day. Once when you're practicing, and then once in the evening at the end of the day. I've got a video that I'm working on that's scripted, that's talking about hand care routine that I recommend. So that'll come out on YouTube here in probably about 2 weeks. The thing that's actually holding it back is I'm trying to get my GoPros to film better. The quality of the camera is not good. All right, we stretched. Now I'm going to massage. So I'm doing thumb on top, fingers underneath, massaging up and down the forearm, trying to get on the muscle, in between the muscles, around the muscles. And you might need to get up into your tricep, your biceps, depending on like what you did the day before, but pretty good up there. Usually I stretch that in the morning before that. Do a workout, so upper body's usually stretch out, but you might need to roll out your shoulders, stretch your neck, etc. Now I'm going to do the thumb in the palm, fingers on the back of the hand, just massaging all around the hand, getting it nice and loose. And the other hand. And then the very last massage that we'll do is base the tip of each one of the fingers. Do this at least 2 times. And just kind of wiggle your way down as you massage. And get nice and relaxed. For each one of the fingers. This routine takes a few minutes, but it is worth your time. As somebody who's been drumming since 1998, who used to have a bunch of hand injuries and whatnot, I don't get those. Not anymore. And it's because I try and take care of my hands. Alrighty. So, let's play this again, and we'll just get to the point where it completely crashes and burns. Don't worry, my wife is on standby with a fire extinguisher. She's ready to go. I like your moves. Alright, let's do 155. Scrolling down. And here we go. Alright, so this is just normal cheese on 1. Whoa, my brain like forgot it. Let's try it again. Again, my right hand just, I almost lost my stick again. Slowly sliding. What's going on? Why are you doing that? Did you put oil on my sticks?
Jelly.
Oh, jelly. Okay. What flavor?
Grape.
Grape. Okay. That's great. Thank you. It's helping my playing. Okay. Let's try 160 now. This will be the crash and burn point this morning. Doot, 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 doot. Yeah, left hand's a little tight, but you know, it happens. All right, cool. So that's forward grid. Now, for every one of these variations that I got this 1, 2, 4 accents, and you're like, wait, what does that mean? It's the opposite. So this one, instead of going 4, 2, 1, it goes 1, 2, 4 for the pattern on the left, but then the accents are also backward. So instead of starting with an accent on 1, then on 2, and then on the third partial, it starts with it on the third partial, then the second, and then the first. So it's going backwards for both the overall meta, like the 4-2-1, as well as with the accents are going backwards. So this pattern that's the first line. Okay, so let's slow this down. And whoops, gotta open up the description. Let's go to 100. Nice awkward tempo. Again, this can go as slow as 40, so slow this down if you're new to this. Okay, we're just going to go by 1 because that was a pretty sloppy playthrough of it. All right, now speed her up. Let's see how fast we can go. 110. Make sure the first cheese is low. Don't want it high. Ew. I'm fired. Sorry. It's okay. You can unsub. I understand. And we got this variation for like all of the major rudiments. So like flam 5, flam drag, even like diddle on 1, diddle on 2, diddle on 3, all those variations, etc. Thank you for the like on YouTube. You just have to go to the home tab of YouTube and you can find all of them in the drumming content header. Click on the header. It shows you over 1,000 play-alongs. Mm-hmm. 130. I think 150 is going to be the crash and burn point. Stay tuned, folks. We'll find out. Today's episode of Jared Plays Things Fast. A little extra rim shot in there. It's the drum bay. With a little extra seasoning on that. You know, rim shots. You just gotta put them in spontaneously. Keep the audience on their toes. These are jokes. I just deliver it with a flat affect because I think it's funny. And you know, autism. It's getting tricky. Thank you for the follow on TalkTick. All right. This is where I think it's going to crash and burn. Don't worry. I have a fire extinguisher installed right above me. So when the flames come up from my forearms, it'll just rain down water. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's do that again. I like forgot it. Kind of important to remember what you're playing. I could, look at the screen. Okay, 160. My sticks are going to fly out of my hands at this point. And if you could play it faster than this, cool. This goes all the way up to 200. Or if you can't play it this fast, that's fine. This goes as slow as 40. What does 40 sound like? I could go make another cup of coffee on this tap off. All jokes aside, like the stream that I did a couple days ago, we broke it down at 40. It was the 5-stroke roll timing exercise. Start at 40. Just let it go one click at a time. I promise, it helps. I'm sharing all the so-called secrets. How to get good. There are no secrets. Practice, slow, refine your technique, stay relaxed. If you can just focus on those things, you'll get like 99% of what you need to do. My right hand kept slipping again. Look at this. This is where we ended up. This is where we started. All right, that is backwards grid. Now, if you go and you look at this, there's 33 more exercises in here. Well, I guess technically 32, because the first one is just telling you how to play with these. But, like, there's cheese on 2, forward, backward. Cheese on 3, forward, backward. And then there's other variations in here, even like 2 accent variations. Those have been releasing lately. But we're now going to do cheese on accents. And we'll just stick right now with, like, the forward versions, but there's backwards versions of each of these. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to go to here, and we're going to go to 100. This is cheese on accents. What shampoo do I use? The Invisible 9000. It's grape flavored. Okay, so this time, instead of having the rudiment stationary, the rudiment moves with the accents. And there's like flam 5 variation of this, flam drag variation, blah, 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 blah. Now we're going to try and get this one up to 160-ish. Ish. We'll see. What was that? A demon just escaped my throat. Out, demon. Started trying to say one, and then, that happened. For leadership auditions on snare, usually those are short. So like you could do like something like a shopping spree. If you go to, since they're on YouTube, on the home tab, if you go to the drumming content, this section, the chop exercises, there are some fun ones in here. So for example, 5/4 shopping spree is my favorite, but I really like Blue Devils 99, Blue Devils 2000. That's also a good one. If you scroll down to RCC's Mori spree, that's also a good one. If you play something like that, most solos, like for that kind of stuff, it like play for 30 seconds a minute, just to kind of show what your chops are. Like they're usually every audition is different, but usually not asking for like a 5-minute like snare solo. If you need something that's longer, Tap Space has a lot of cool stuff. If you go on there, Roloff Percussion, Rowloff is how you spell it. Roloff. They have some solos on there, but if you just like do some of the stuff in the chop thing, any of the shopping sprees on here, that's what I'd recommend. And you can also find it if you go to the very first link in each one of the play alongs. It's also organized right here into here. So Blue Devils 99, Blue Devils 2000, Velvet Knights shopping spree, or RCC's Mori spree. Any of those would be good if you can play through them. And with all those play alongs, just go slow. All of those start at 40 beats a minute, so you can practice it nice and slow. Good question, though. 120. You're very welcome. All right, so 130. Here we go. Do 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 do. I guess another thing that I'll add is that you can also make your own solo. So highlight the stuff that you can do really well and showcase that. So that's another option for you. You don't have to necessarily play something that's published. You can play your own thing. Something that's got a bunch of flam fives in it and chut cheeses, whatever. 150. This one will probably be able to go faster. When the rudiment moves, it's a little bit easier than when it's stationary on grid. $160. And then we'll do cheese before an accent. My left hand's slowing down. Shame. It's almost like I marched several years with traditional, and now I'm playing match grip, and I'm still trying to make up for that lost time. Wah, wah. Yikes! That was the breaking point. We survived. Barely. Alright, let's do cheese before. Whoa. Went back here. Nope. There we go. Okay. So in the cheese variations playlist, so we have cheese before. We also have it backward or forward. And then we have cheese after. We're going to do both of those. But first I'm going to start with before. This one is harder in a different way. Because you're doing all upstrokes after the cheeses. So let's do this. So again, this is a variation of grid where the rudiment moves as opposed to staying stationary. But it's a fun way to work on the upbeat. So you gotta keep the cheese nice and low. How low can you go? Laying cheese. 110. Now, normally I'd recommend just like let the play along go. Just play one click faster every single time. But we're just having fun this morning, just chopping out. Getting the hands playing fast. Whoops. I started doing the next variation where it's cheese after. We'll do that in a minute. First, we gotta chop out with this. My brain was anticipating and was like, please play it now. And my hands were like, no. Good story, right? Clip that. Thank you for the likes on YouTube. It does help when people like use these play alongs and like sit there and practice with it for like 20 minutes or press like or share it with people. YouTube's like, this might be worth sharing. They didn't have a quantum shirt? No. They only had it in binary. I'll work on getting the merch store to have a quantum version of it where it's just constantly jiggling around, changing. You got the jokes. Ah! Yeah, let's just try that again. You did not see that. Click. I had to find it. It took me a moment. Your son's music teacher would be happy if he was doing the exact same thing right now. As a former music teacher, I hear you. It's still in his bag. Hey, I mean, so I started drumming in 1998. And in 1998, I did not practice much. It wasn't until 1999 when I embarrassed myself in front of the marching band because I couldn't play just a quarter note part. And the drumline section leader came up to me and yelled at me in front of the whole group. And I went home and I was like, you know what? I'm not very good at drumming. I didn't like that I got yelled at. What would happen if I invested a lot more time into it? And then I started practicing. So that was my freshman year. My sophomore year, I was first chair of every ensemble. My junior year, I made all-state. My senior year, I got a full ride in percussion performance. And then I went on and became section leader of every drumline that I marched in. And got a PhD in music education, blah, 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 blah. Where I started, though, I was just kind of like, this is okay. and didn't really spend much time into it. And it wasn't until I got into it for a little bit, then I really invested time with it. And as somebody who has taught every single grade, kindergarten through doctoral student, I've seen a wide range of expertise and skills, etc., in both computer science and music education contexts, percussion contexts, band contexts, etc. And there are some students who, when they start, they're just like kind of putting in half the amount of effort that they should be doing into it. And then something may happen, some kind of spark may light that fire, and then they will get into it. So I personally have tried to not push students that I worked with too hard, because sometimes you push them out of the activity. I've seen that happen too many times. I've been guilty of doing that when I was a younger educator and first started teaching in 2003. And I regret some of the ways that I pushed students, like, hey, you need to practice more. Hey, you need to practice more, because they just didn't care. Like they didn't have that same level of passion that I did. And I eventually understood that that's okay. They might eventually get that passion or not. And it's okay if it's still just a hobby. Not everybody needs to get a doctorate in the thing that they're doing. And that's okay. Like me doing computer science stuff, I've taught it for several years. I don't have any degrees in it. I did it because I enjoyed it and thought it would be fun to teach, and started doing that and made all kinds of content around it, etc. But is it like a job that I want to do forever? No. Do I want to get hired by like some corporation to develop an app? No. I have no interest in that. It's just for fun and to help people. So, long-winded. You feel that as a mechanic? Yeah. It applies to domains. No, that's bad. It applies to many different domains. And I've seen it like in computer science where people get burned out from it. I see it in music. Like, don't push too hard. Let them dictate their own pace. You can encourage, but if you push too hard, they might leave. What's going on? Brain. I need more coffee. It's like I want to play it on 3. Like I have friends who have like young kids, and their young kids have similar interests, as the parents, like automotive stuff. So like one of them's really into racing, so his kid's really into racing. But they understand that if they push him too hard, then he will leave. Like the sport will not want to do it anymore. So they let him kind of dictate the pace, and they will be there to support. Plenty of it. Give all kinds of encouragement and whatnot. But without being like, you have to do this thing for years, even though you don't want to. And that's not to say that you should like give up on everything that's like requires effort. It'd be like, oh, I don't like this. This is hard. Like, no, stick with something. Try it. You might eventually like it. But it doesn't mean to like stick with it for like several years. Like if you try it for like a year or two and you're like, you know what, I'm still just not into whatever it is, that's okay. You can switch to other things. Life is short. There's so many things to do in such little time. Yep, we found the breaking point. Flawless. You did not hear a single mistake with that. Okay, so that was cheese before an accent. Let's do cheese after an accent now. So this one is really hard to keep that cheese low for this. That like right hand after the accent, because like a lot of people when they play it, it's like that. It looks like tenor players. Ooh, shade. Love you, tenors. But you know I'm right. You know I'm right. Y'all do it. Play it on one drum, looks great. Play it on multiple drums, you're like, woo. Suddenly those flams are 9 inches too high. Dad did that with sailing. Spent 20 days at sea. Ooh, that's scary. I have, what's the name of the thing where you're like afraid of being in open water? Like I've been on a cruise, I've been boating, like things like that, but like swimming in open water, like out where there's, Kraken and stuff. Nah, I'm good. I will stick to the land where I can use my Muay Thai skills to fend off land sharks. But out in the water, nope. We did undergrad together and March Academy together in '04. I'm certainly. Oh, interesting. That's funny. Yeah, ASU, right? You played. Was it mellophone? Yes, thalassophobia. Thalassophobia. Yes, that's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah. That thing scares me. Yeah, I don't want to go out in the water. Nope. But hey, I'm glad to hear that the resources are helpful for you, and hopefully helpful for your student. You know, there's thousands. Keep them busy for a while. Euphonium, yeah. Good to see your name. Hope you've been well. We did practicum together, right? I remember stressing out about that so much. Nothing like trying to do school while you're chronically depressed. That was difficult. How's the Invader 3? I like it. It's good. I've had it for a long time. That's funny. Yes, I have some, like, on TikTok in particular, former students would be like, you used to teach me when I was in kindergarten, and now I'm in, like, high school. I'm like, oh, I feel old. It's weird how, like, the feed just, like, knows, hey, you know this person. But yeah, if you're still teaching music, which hopefully you are, or at least involved with it, then there on my home tab on the YouTube, there's the drumming content header, and if you click on the header, there's literally over 1,000 free play-alongs, and there's like a dozen hours of drumming tips and whatnot. Can help your students. I think the breaking point will probably be 170 for this one. Maybe. Stay tuned, folks. We'll find out. TikTok keeps popping up as notification. It's like sent to store. I don't know what that means. Thanks, TikTok. This one, again, the cheese, like keeping that nice and low, that's the hard part about this one. But this is a great way to work on the up or the downstroke. So when it's here into the cheese, just keeping that nice and relaxed, nice and low. 17th year teaching. Oh, that's funny. I haven't done that sort of thing in a while, actually. I started teaching computer science. Actually, when I finished my residency for my PhD in music education, I took the very last semester, I took a class on like coding music apps and was like, oh, that's cool. When is this music? When is this coding? And when are the two inseparable? And so those questions, like I pursued it and started teaching at a K-8 school computer science classes. And then I created educational content at a nonprofit, like computer science stuff. So like for several years, I just went all in on computer science just to explore that. And I stopped teaching everything drumline related and percussion related when I was starting my residency, because I was teaching at a high school while doing my first semester of my residency for the PhD. And it was just like, this is too much. I don't have time to do research and study and teach, etc. But yeah, I mean, that sounds like fun. I haven't done that in forever. But yeah, I'm still in Arizona. GG's on making it 17 years. That's genuinely an accomplishment. Like, it's a difficult profession, and music education in particular is ridiculously difficult. Especially as like somebody who taught the elementary grades, like to hear what they sound like when they first pick up an instrument, it's like, oh my, what tempo am I at? Is this right? I kind of forgot. I'm rambling. People don't believe how bad kids sound when they first make music. Sweet. 170. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, especially after COVID, I knew so many teachers who just like left the field after that because it was like, wow. Woo. Yeah, good to see you as well. Good to see your name. You're bringing back memories. I'm having like flashbacks of 2004 Academy back in the day. People always ask what the corps was that I marched, but 5 years. Then I got into a car accident, 2005. Couldn't march years 6 or 7. Okay, that was. Oh, interesting. Doesn't show me how long it was. That was all the grid variations that I wanted to get through for about 50 minutes. Nice. Public charter teaching. That's awesome. Yeah, so I don't know about for you, but when I did my student teaching, the elementary placement, the guy that I did the student teaching with, he was like gigging on weekends and spending time up at the cabin with his family, and like was like playing in like Broadway stuff, and like was just like doing all these like cool things after school. But when it was like, what was it, 2:30 when the bell rang, he was done. He went and started teaching private lessons. He went and did all those gigs, like whatever he wanted. He'd show up like, was it like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then he'd be done at 2:30. But then at the exact same time, like, because it was split like half days, like half the mornings I think were at the elementary and the afternoons, maybe it's reversed, or at the high school. But the high school person that I was with was like there 6 o'clock at the latest every morning. Would then be there until 9 o'clock at night on a lot of nights. Would have like Friday nights just constantly busy, Saturdays busy, etc. And I was like, I don't think I can get it like a master's if I'm gonna be just nonstop at the school. Like that's gonna be rough. This was before like remote teaching and whatnot. And it just made me realize like, one, I liked teaching the elementary kids because it was just like you could be goofy, and it would be fun. And then with the high school, it was just like, it's just so much time. But I'm glad to hear that you're happier now with like the balance with family life and whatnot. When I left the classroom, what was it, 7, 8 years ago, whatever it was, and started like working at the nonprofit, I really miss like working with kids because it was just like so much fun. But like the curricular resources and the professional development stuff that I made was like literally used by millions of teachers and students around the world. And I was like, okay, so I can have the impact I want. I just don't get to necessarily see it in action. But like being able to work from home, I was just like, I don't know if I can go back to this. Like for me, the selling point is like the first week I started working from home, my wife got like a flat tire and like at that time didn't know how to change it. So I was like, I can just go and help her. Like I don't have to get a substitute. I don't have to ask permission from a principal. I don't have to write lesson plans for like leaving. I can just go help her. And I was like, this is amazing. The only problem is like with my like work ethic and whatnot, so I like didn't stop working. So because I was working from home, whenever I'd see my computer, I was like, I need to work on something or I need to create something. And so like I had to set my own internal boundaries, like shut the door when I'm done, or like change the monitor angle, or just like little goofy stuff while working from home. So that way it's like, now's my gaming time, and when the monitor faces this way, it's my work time or whatever. But it's just having had my day dictated for me for several years, where every single minute was pre-scripted in terms of like not having time to go to the bathroom, or like you have meetings at these times and you teach these classes at these times. When I started working from home and was able to set my own hours, I was just like, I don't know if I can go back. Like, one, the pay was like double what I was making as a teacher, but then two, it's just like the autonomy and the freedom was just night and day compared to teaching. And like, I love teaching, but I didn't like being a teacher, if that makes sense. So like, I like working with kids, teaching adults, whatever. But when it's like, you have to deal with all the parents, you have to deal with all the, like the lunch duty and whatnot. Like the fact that I was doing like basically babysitting in the lunchroom, as somebody with a doctorate, it's like, you know that my skills could be better used teaching or creating content or doing anything other than what you could have a minimum wage worker or volunteer do, etc. So I don't know. It's like one of those, it's kind of like drum corps. Like I really enjoyed drum corps, but also it was like some of the worst instruction I've ever seen. It was like this weird, like it's both. Like I can see the stuff that I like about it and I can see the stuff that I hate about it. Like teaching can be great, but there's also some stuff where it's just like, whenever people ask, should I become a teacher? I'm like, especially for the computer science stuff that I've been doing the last several years, it's like, okay, I know somebody who was making $70,000 as a teacher, which was great. Like that's way more than I made as a teacher with a doctorate. But he then went to industry and he made over 250. So like, if you want to put up with all the nonsense and make a fraction of the pay what you normally would, go for it. Have fun. It's like the same thing for the doctorate. Like, did I enjoy my doctorate? Yeah, definitely. Do I regret it? No, not at all. Would I recommend it for people? No. Is it worth the pay bump? No, not at all. If you want to do research, it's great. If you want to like learn how to do this stuff, depending on what your PhD's in, like there's a lot of cool things you can do, but I don't know. It's a hard profession. Like I know some people who are like business people who like want to retire and become a teacher. I'm like, yeah, okay, good luck. It's a lot harder than it looks. Especially like the way I've been thinking about it lately is people who have like a sales background. Because like there's all the like the performance stuff where it's like we want teachers to be held accountable for their performance as an educator, so we're going to measure the student test scores and like make you get paid more or less depending on how the students do. And it's like, all right, cool. So you want to be more business-like. So when you're in sales and you're selling to people, you can just go to a new customer when somebody doesn't have the money or isn't interested in your product. But if you're a teacher, it's like you're doing sales and you got 30 clients that you're supposed to sell to, and you have to sell to every single one of them. Every single one of them, even if they don't have the money for it, even if they're not interested in buying the product or they already have the product, they still have to be sold to it. And then you're held accountable for that. You can't change your customers. You can't change your clients. You have to do the exact same thing. And it's just like, okay, that sounds horrible. Any salesman would be like, cool, I need to just find 1 out of 100 every single week. And then I'm good to go and I'll make my quotas. But with teaching, it's like, well, I'm stuck with these 30 kids or 100 kids or however many if you're teaching music. And you have to sell to them, even if they're like mandated to be there and they don't want to be there. It's just a completely different scenario. I honestly kind of wish that like politicians or business people or anyone who like thinks they should have a say in education should be like mandated to teach like for a month in a classroom. Yeah, you think it's so easy? All right, find out what it's like. Like I had an administrator at a district that I worked at, where I was like, okay, the computer science teachers need to have extra professional development time because they've gone their entire life never having done this thing and they're being asked to teach it. So it's like asking someone to teach Russian when they've never spoken it, never heard it, never seen it, etc. And she was like, yeah, well, I can get math teachers who have never taught math before to teach math. And I was like, yeah, but you need 12 years requirement of math to graduate from high school. Like, that is very different than computer science, where it's like they have literally 0. So I was like, okay, so you think you can do that? Do you think you could teach a band class if you've never played an instrument before? And she's like, yeah, it all comes down to pedagogy. And I laughed so hard in her face. I was like, you have no idea what you are talking about. You think you could teach a band class where there's like a dozen different instruments going on, all playing different keys, all with different fingerings, all playing different stabs, different notations, different whatever. And you think you could do that because you understand pedagogy? You need the content knowledge. Like, it is a balance. Like, have you never heard of PCK or even TPAC? Like, it's a Venn diagram. You have to have both. You can't have them separately. And so I like ranted about it. And because she was higher up on the administration scale than I was, she was just able to dismiss me and was like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Hilariously, she ended up having to substitute for me because I was observing some of the other computer science teachers in the district. And so she had to spend the whole day teaching computer science in the class. And so I went and asked every single class the following day, like, oh, what'd the substitute do with you? And she's like, I don't know. She's just sitting on her phone all day. She just let us do whatever she wants. I was like, oh, really? So even with all of her pedagogy, she couldn't teach my simple computer science classes. It was great. Administrators. Some of them are great. Some of them are horrible. Anyways. Nah, you didn't derail the stream. No, I was going to end it anyways. I'm actually going to play Fortnite here in a little bit. I like to keep these streams to about an hour, and we're at just about an hour. But if anyone's interested, on my YouTube, the home tab, this is where you can find literally thousands of free drumming content. I also have the gaming computer science stuff because I'm a nerd who shares what I'm interested in. But if you click on the header, this is where you can find the dozen hours of drumming tips, all of the lessons, all the prior live streams, and then just like a bunch of play-alongs in here. Now, with any one of these play-alongs, if you go to them, like let's say, I don't know, this cheese one, when you click on it, the very first link that's in here, this takes you to my website, which is, if you're in vertical watching this on the stream, it's right here, /drum on my website. This is where you find the 55 chop exercises, the 900 plus grid variations in triplet and 16th note. We've got a bunch of timing exercises, 55 drum charts, both straight and swung, almost 400 bass exercises, just under 300 technique stuff, as well as all the drumming tips, practice streams, etc. Now, any of the videos, like the ones here that say members first, are scheduled to release publicly. There's 418 of them currently scheduled to release, so I'm well ahead on creating a bunch of content. But all the ones that don't say members first are currently available to y'all and will remain that way. So if you enjoy the content, just share it with somebody else. But I'm going to call it here. I'm going to get ready for some Fortnite. Tomorrow, we're going to be back. We're going to be working on limb independence. And then 2 days from now, we'll be working on tenor technique stuff. So we'll get those really high taps and bad playing zones worked on. But I appreciate y'all, Brandon. I appreciate the chatting. That was some good reminiscing. That was 20 years ago. Holy, I feel old. But anyways, I'm going to call it. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. And goodbye.